Oh, what is that? No. Oh, are we gonna gloss over that? Generic control into that goose. We're back with another Star Trek video. Today we have a video that has been long anticipated. It's been asked for probably over half a year now. It is this Fox Kids video. The reason why I haven't done it is because it's 61 minutes long. I'm actually recording on a separate day. I had to pick an entirely different day to record videos so I could fit this one in, because usually my Wednesdays I'm literally at my computer recording, editing, streaming, making thumbnails for 14 hours straight on Wednesdays. That's usually when I record these videos, and I just absolutely could not do an hour-long recording on top of all of that. So doing this to make my Wednesdays not terrible. We're doing Fox Kids by Nostalgic Critic. I don't remember there ever being Fox Kids cartoons or anything. I never watched Fox Kids, so I'm not going to be familiar with really any of these characters. So you've been warned. You're probably not surprised by this point watching videos on my channel. Also, shout out to the patrons. They get videos daily. Lamps on a Pay1 channel. You can check my reaction to last week's video, which was Batman and Robin. That was rough. I'll leave my reaction to it right up there. Also, be linked down below in the description. Also, going to be on a playlist on my channel with all of my other Nostalgic Creative videos going in chronological order. I read every single comment, leave them down below. And let me know what the next Nostalgic Creative video should be. Also, if there is a charity shout out at the end of this video, whatever this video makes in the first day, I will donate to that charity in next week's Nostalgic Creative video. So definitely stay tuned for that. And if you want to see how much this video makes in the first day, which is typically more than half of what the video will make over its entire life, that's going to be a roughing the catcher. I don't know, personal foul. I don't know. I have the Cowboys-Niners game on. But let's go ahead and jump into Fox Kids, 61 minutes long. Oh my god. Alright, here we go. Y'all wanted this for so long. I'm having to record on another day. I just recorded a Badger video that's 40 minutes long before this. So this is the fourth video I'm recording today. Usually my Wednesdays, I record 8 videos and live stream for 2 hours. I edit 3 videos, render 4 videos, and make 2 thumbnails, which usually equates to a 12 to 14 hour long day of sitting in this chair at this computer. So just to make it possible to do this, I decided I'm gonna record videos on Sunday. So I cut up my Wednesday and my Wednesday videos into Sunday and Wednesday. So I'm not familiar with Fox Kids at all. I'm not gonna know any of these, I don't think. Rob Zombie, I went to one of those concerts. Didn't know any songs, but I went to the concert. That's obnoxious snoring. Is audio buggy for y'all too? That's a jackhammer. That's an elephant. For some reason the audio is screwing up for me. Oh god, is that the Teletubbies baby?
Critic,
Sun
we didn't
baby?
get much sleep.
Too excited for your
Is this
bowl of
sleepover or
Lucky
something?
Frosted Cocoa Tricks. It's
Cocoa-
part of a complete breakfast.
Cocoa Tricks?
Where? Dairy Queen's dumpster?
Now
Yikes.
don't be like that. I poured you each a bowl of that last Saturday in preparation for this.
You mean this has been out for a week?
A week?
It helps open up the flavors.
No, it's gonna be stale. What is
I
that?
had a big dinner.
That's...
And I'm vegetarian.
Those are
I'm
cotton balls.
pretty sure that used to be alive.
Huh? Sit yourself.
Okay,
That's gonna be
Critic,
super
can you
crunchy.
explain why we're up at dick o'clock in the morning?
I forgot it.
I'm usually awake at
You're not aware of the
dick o'clock.
ritual of Saturday morning. You see, Saturday morning used to be a special time for kids. We'd often have friends sleep over the night
Yeah,
before, and then
I
wake
never
up
really
to
had
the majesty
sleepovers.
of television's
I had
Saturday
a
morning
couple,
cartoons.
but-
Each one filled with brain-rotting material, coaxing us to buy teeth-rotting material.
Cereal.
Unfortunately, TV did its job too well, and the following generation said, "Let's
What?
just have this shit raise our kids 24/7."
Yeah,
Thus, every
every
second
channel.
of every goddamn day
Well, a
was
lot of those
Saturday
I've never
morning
seen.
cartoons, and they got rid of them
Animal
usually.
Planet for kids?
Society sucks.
Okay, we're not 10 years old. We had Saturday morning cartoons too.
We're just wondering why we're
didn't
here
really
this
do
Saturday.
that.
Oh, well, that's because we're paying homage to one of the best in
What do I do
Saturday
on
morning
Saturday
awesomeness,
mornings?
Fox Kids. In
have
1990, the
sports
then
going on
still young
Saturdays?
Fox Network aired its Saturday morning lineup of shows called Fox Kids. It included bumpers, PSAs, catchy songs, and of course, some of the best kids shows to ever air on TV. Eventually branching out to Monday through Friday as well, Fox
Of
Kids
course.
lasted 12 years.
12
An
years?
Unbelievable run
What
when you
years
consider
did it
its
say?
counterpart, the Disney Afternoon, lasted only 7 years.
I did
While half
the
of these
reaction to
shows
that
can
one.
still be viewed today, some of them have sadly never gotten a DVD release or were never aired again. So keep in mind, we're not going to look at every single show that aired on Fox
How many
Kids
shows
because,
were there?
like I said, this is
Beetlejuice,
12
never
years of
seen. I
material.
didn't know there was a
We're just
show.
gonna
I know
look
there's
at
a
the
movie.
most
Never
unique,
seen it.
Inspired and
Attack of the Killer
memorable parts of the
Tomatoes.
greatest Saturday morning lineup there was. So, with our sugar-coated poison in hand,
Younger kids wanting to watch what the older kids are watching.
Hey guys!
Oh,
Did
no.
we watch the shows too?
No.
And an overprotective parental who thinks if it's not Sesame Street, it's bad for them.
I'm sorry,
His
kids,
dad.
but you're too young to see this kind of stuff.
I'm older than half of them over there.
Shoot.
Nice.
I hate you. You're not even my real father.
Kids, are you enjoying Saturday morning?
yes, Dad.
That's good. I'm gonna go make some waffles on the stove just for you.
Thanks. Wait, waffles on the
Do
stove?
we have a stove?
No.
Figure out how that happened later. This is
Later.
Fox Kids.
Okay. Fox Kids Network. I think this was a little before my time. Yeah, I definitely think this was before my time. I didn't even know Fox ever did this until people were like commenting about it.
We'll get to it when we get to it.
Say Captain Kid, pretty sure it's a YouTuber. He put me in one of those videos as crazy as that is. I've never seen a Batman movie or Batman show, so. Okay, that dude just got ripped in half. That's Tom and Jerry.
Keep going, keep going.
That's Wolverine, right? Beetlejuice. They're dancing on a plane. It's on Fox. It's a pretty banger of a song, to be honest. Especially as a kid.
It's on Fox.
Can we please get a year
Start
of...
with one of their earliest staples, Bobby's World.
Never heard of
Oh,
it.
I've seen this. It's like if Calvin and Hobbes were made by Ned Flanders.
Hey, it's a lot more than that.
Sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah, okay, it's pretty accurate.
I don't get that
Bobby's World
description
was
at all.
based off of the little boy voice that comedian Howie Mandel did for his popular
Wait,
stand-up.
Howie Mandel? Wait, is that like Howie Mandel, the bald dude from America's Got Talent, who's a germaphobe?
The 90s were
I've never seen him with
strange time
hair.
where crude comedians got kid-friendly shows. He was given one of his own. Just look at how awkward he is in the live-action openings.
Hi everyone, I'm Howie. Welcome to Bobby's
Dude,
World.
that's him with the
You know what
hair.
I really hate.
Whoa.
Of course you don't, because you don't know me. You know what I hate?
Germs! God, I hate germs!
Yeah, I'm also a
Well, certainly aimed
germaphobe.
at a
Not as
younger
crazy as him, though.
demographic than the other Fox Kids shows, Bobby's World showcased the imagination of a little boy misinterpreting what adults say. Either that or he swallowed all of his mother's NyQuil. Either way, neat. The characters included Howie as his father with the Jew-fro rat tail haircut. Common?
I
The
guess.
cast of Fargo as his mother.
Then you need to go upstairs and wash your face and hands before we leave for
What is
our
that Midwestern
full start,
accent?
His older brother representing the 90s trying to kill the 80s, and his older sister representing the 80s refusing to die. Along with Uncle Ted to give his obligatory fart joke.
How come you can make bubbles without putting your face
Oh.
in the water?
Tell you what, Pablo, let's just keep
Dude.
that our little secret, okay?
Dude, your head is shaped like a bong.
Bobby had children's fantasies often based on movies a kid his age wouldn't see yet. Looks like somebody read the kid-friendly version of Die Hard.
Die Hard
So
Christmas.
was it any good?
It's Die Hard
It
Christmas
was-
movie.
Hypnotizingly unoffensive. It's for little kids, so it's simple
How
but
little?
imaginative. It even had possibly the first Saturday morning character to get pregnant, and we actually see her progression throughout the season. Little touches like that make it stand out just enough. And I guess kids thought the same thing because it was surprisingly one of Fox's longest running shows. Add a catchy as hell theme song, and you have a decent start to the Fox Kids
What was the
lineup.
song? Hopefully there's no like copyright issue to this video where anything is like
That's cool
blurred
and all, but how about some more violent
or
stuff?
quiet.
Well, you're in luck.
Violent?
This network also had Tom and Jerry.
There we go.
Kids.
I retract that.
Wait,
yes.
Tom and Jerry Kids.
Yeah,
Kids?
another strange trend in
What?
kid shows for a while was just making famous characters younger. Because if there's anything better than seeing someone brutally dismembered and maimed,
It's better when they're kids.
seeing it happen to them as children.
My audio's screwing up.
Finally, somebody gets it. I have issues.
Same.
It was
I have
pretty
no
much
idea.
the same thing as the regular Tom and
My
Jerry
audio just
cartoons,
completely,
except it was
like,
done
gets
with kids.
crackly
So the
sometimes.
slapstick wasn't nearly as
Has happened
violent
all
and
today.
therefore not nearly as funny. Granted, it had other characters too, like Spike and his son Tyke, Droopy and his son Dripple. In fact, how are Tom and Jerry younger if their counterparts are the same age? And how is Skyfall a prequel if M is in GoldenEye? Also, how did minions exist with dinosaurs millions of years
What?
ago?
This is a road you don't want to go down.
What? I don't get it. Oh, don't ask questions. Also, who keeps their phone in their,
Never bring
their
it up
front
again.
pocket like that? Okay, don't ask questions.
Much like Bobby's World, this was obviously meant for smaller children, so it was tamer and more gentle than previous versions.
So not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
But for little kids, it
We've
gets the
won
job,
violence.
I guess. I mean, it is better than other outings Tom and Jerry have had
Hey,
recently.
I did a reaction to his video.
It lasted a few seasons, though, so it
The
obviously had
tunnel.
its fans. It's not the cat and mouse team we remember, but it's not obnoxious either. It wasn't harmful enough to be Tom and Jerry, but it was harmless enough to be a decent distraction for little kids.
Tom and
Fair.
Jerry kids.
So this had to come after Tom and Jerry. How old is Tom and Jerry? I remember watching Tom and Jerry as a kid.
But let's get to something more grisly and adult. Peter Pan and the Pirates. Let me
What?
explain.
Peter Pan. I've never seen a Peter Pan. I think it was
We
a
all
movie,
know the
right?
classic book, play, Disney film, and childhood scarring, but few adaptations of Peter
No, I don't
Pan
actually.
ever captured the darker and surprisingly more adult take of the original J.M. Barrie story than this one.
J.M.
I know that
Barrie?
sounds
It's like an
strange,
ice
but
cream
this was
brand.
actually a really great show. They were ideas that
It's a lot
took
of cans.
concepts from the original book and pushed them even further. For example, Peter steals the pirates' shadows, and what happens?
sorry, what?
They walk upside down because they've lost their anchor to the ground. That's so creatively strange,
Huh?
but it weirdly makes sense. In another episode,
What?
Peter is gone for too long and
Also,
forgets
just
about
fly?
everybody because he's distracted by Wendy's future daughter in the real world, who he brings back to Neverland to meet her future mother despite them being roughly the same age.
Oh,
Bye,
okay.
Uncle Michael. Uncle John, why are you sad? Because I learned today that I shall have to leave Neverland sometime. But I'm happy, because when I do, I'm going to have a daughter as wonderful as you.
Well,
It's
don't you
super
mean
surreal,
it's
but
gonna be
it's
her?
also
A
surprisingly
daughter like
adult.
you?
It's kind of like the ending of Return to Neverland, where young Peter meets older Wendy. That's a lot of people's favorite part of that movie, and this
Is it?
show is mostly comprised of scenes like that. The characters all have fleshed out personalities, with Peter always hungry for mischief, the Lost Boys and Pirates all
You are
having
gonna have fun in the
distinct
comment
character
section.
traits. And in my opinion, the best Captain Hook ever portrayed, played by the only actor who could perfectly portray
Who?
him. Literally, the first perfect thought that comes into your head is who plays him.
Tim Curry.
You goddamn
Is it
right,
Tim Curry?
If
The-
I must die, I will encounter darkness as a bride and hug it in my arms.
Tim Curry really did
This
a lot
is
of
the
things,
first
didn't
Captain
he?
Hook that has dimension to it. Yes, he's an angry screamer and a scoundrel, but he prides himself on being a gentleman and a sophisticate. One minute he's ready to stab your heart, but the next he might let you go if you make him laugh with a reading of Shakespeare.
No.
Dear God, they give you death by inches.
Does that make him crazy?
No, Shakespeare gives thanks that you aren't here to witness this atrocity.
He was an egotist, but still valued his bizarre ethics. It made him both funny and intimidating at the exact same time. And nowhere is the
I have no
series
input on
complexity
this
shown best than in its
because I
series
don't not familiar with
finale,
Captain
where Peter
Hook.
decides he does want to grow up and he starts to wither away into an old man, unaware that he's actually taking Neverland with him. So you could argue Hook was being portrayed even before Hook was doing it.
It's Robin Williams.
It's surprisingly intense and unbelievably well done. It lasted for only one season, but it resulted in
Really?
a ton
Only
of
one season?
episodes and had a pretty good life in reruns. Criminally, though, there is no DVD release of it.
Why
If
not?
you're able to find it on YouTube or anywhere else, definitely watch as many of them as you can. It's a cannonball of
Since
imagination.
they usually get their footage for reviews from DVDs, but never got a DVD, how'd they get this?
That's all fine and good, but what about the poor people who demand a series about demonic fruit?
What? That's
I had no segue into the show.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. They're demonic fruit.
So,
If you
because
count
we
a tomato as
apparently
fruit.
demanded it, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes was given its own cartoon series. Based on the B-movie comedies, it did have some of the original
What?
characters, like Igor, Tara, that parachute guy, and even John Astin reprising his role as the mad scientist who made the evil vegetables.
Why?
It's 2018, nobody uses that term anymore. It certainly had the strangeness of the films down, but it didn't have much more beyond
what?
that. The plot is similar to the movies in that a mad scientist
What?
wants to take over the world with the tomatoes and his failed experiments, Tara and FT, and Tomato War veteran Wilbur tries to stop him. He gets help from the main lead, a boy who was not in the movies, and you can clearly see why. He's pretty bland and forgettable, and the animation doesn't do him or any of the other characters any favors.
You know
But the
you're supposed
tomatoes
to stay away from salt.
are good.
If someone sees you,
What is up with this girl? Is the
Just
binary
nope.
coat on her neck being hacked?
Nope.
Must
Nope.
blackmail George Clooney with Return of the Killer Tomatoes footage.
Yo, zucchini.
Look at this scene. She has to lean over to talk to FT, but look how she does it.
it's Igor.
How,
Dr.
dude?
Gangrene.
What the hell?
How do you do
Is
that?
this part of the joke, or is it just poorly animated? The whole show is kind of like this, leaving you with no idea what's intentional
Oh,
and what
that's-
isn't. Even the dialogue,
What's that
you
outfit,
can't figure
bro?
out what they're aware of and what they're not.
Being a luscious, ripe tomato can be hard on a girl.
Whatever you're thinking, erase it from your heads.
I had a line about her being saucy, but never mind.
Yeah, don't.
I guess on a
No,
level of
Jesus
bizarre
Christ, no.
awkwardness, I can see this entertaining a few, but for many kids, the most memorable part of the show is the theme song.
What's the theme song?
Goddamn, that's a catchy theme song.
Is it? Okay. Never heard that before. Didn't know this
But not
existed.
all the Fox Kids shows started off on Fox Kids.
Beetlejuice, which didn't know there was a
Story
show.
about a dead man who befriends an underage girl he was going to marry.
Finally, somebody who gets it.
Do I have to worry about you?
Yeah, you should. He's on a list.
Beetlejuice had only the slightest connection to the movie, which was surprisingly welcomed as it allowed for a lot of wild and inventive designs. Granted, in the movie, everyone looks the way they do because they died that way. Here,
Oh.
I don't know how the shit they were supposed to die
Wait,
to
so
look like this.
they-
Tim Burton
so it's the
himself
way they
helped design
die?
the show, and it certainly shows in all the strange people and creatures. It had little in terms of plot, but it had a lot in terms of visual and gross-out humor.
Ew.
At a time especially when there wasn't much in terms of dark or macabre cartoons, this one gave us a small but still memorable taste of the enjoyably morbid. It was a waste of time, but it was a fun
It was a waste of time. It was a fun waste of time. Isn't all TV kind of like that? Well, not always. You can get some lessons from shows.
But I know what you're thinking. If Beetlejuice got a cartoon, why not Little Shop of Horrors?
Because no one was thinking that.
Just
I
for
don't
that,
know
the
who that
plant
is.
raps.
Little Shop of... Is
Little
that a
Shop
killer
is
plant?
based on the musical interpretation about the man-eating plant, except Seymour is now a little boy, the plant raps instead of sings, and absolutely none of it looks completed.
It's almost like it's all a rough draft.
This looks more like the bumpers you see before they go to commercial.
You don't give those bumpers enough credit. The focus of the show is the plant is trying to get Seymour to win the girl and defeat the bully while also running
The
a
plant.
plant shop that's constantly infested with bad musical numbers.
My business is a bust. Business was a
Plant shop.
God, I wish this had the original cinematic ending.
What?
Why is he even shocked
what?
the plant is talking? The flowers act as backup singers all the time.
That's fair,
I'm
yeah.
sure the plant is talking, his
Well,
lips move
do
so
the other
rarely.
plants talk?
C is for commuter train. Many parts are edible.
Many
guess
parts
I
are
can
edible,
Give credit
excuse
that
me?
For a show that had a budget of monkey feces, the backgrounds are at least creatively simple. I mean, I'm sure the layout artist had 2 minutes to color these on
Probably.
Mario Paint, but there is at least a little structure in between the poorly animated sections. Oh god, he's having a stroke. Nope, that's just a bad show.
Something's gone bad. It's a crime of disgrace. You got stones for ground. Walls in your face.
The writing doesn't make any sense either.
The
girl in the
song's
show is
decent?
obsessed with a refrigerator. I'm going to repeat that. The girl in the show is obsessed with a refrigerator.
You usually do
and
that
they
till you're like in your
never
30s.
Explain why.
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I think it's really cool. Women.
Notice how she didn't say it was like a brother to her.
Hey, my love of refrigerators has nothing to do with my gender. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Refrigerator.
Oh, I love you so much. You're so good to me. I love you so much.
It's a refrigerator.
Clearly, Little Shop of Horrors was ahead of its time.
Apparently.
Like I said, this has little redeeming value, but I'm sorry, I have to reference a Little Shop of Horror cartoon show in the 90s where the plant raps. I know you think it's a crime it exists, but it's an even bigger crime to act like it
Was that
doesn't
a-
exist. The show
was that a
lasted only
Dali
13
reference with the
episodes
melting
before it was
clock?
yanked,
That
and
was
you can see
Salvador
why this
Dali, right?
fertilizer didn't get far.
Word, little shop.
Little
I'm
Shop.
noticing a pattern of characters that most likely wouldn't make a good show.
Not making a good show?
Were there any existing characters that allowed for clever writing or intelligent dialogue?
Is there? Tasmanian Devil?
Yes, really.
Tasmania.
Warner Brothers was given the task of turning one of their most profitable Looney Tunes, the Tasmanian
Really the
Devil,
most
into a
profitable?
hit show. How do you do that,
Did
though,
it?
when his dialogue is mostly...
A crackhead on the street. Got
Ingeniously
it.
make everyone else very well spoken.
Dude, what's that
Even to
haircut?
the
Get
point
rid
of
of
it
it.
being ridiculously overwritten.
Accumulate a portfolio of stock with a net yield of no less than 36% per annum.
There's nothing like a
Say
paper in a
36%
recliner chair
per
for a
year?
man after a tough day of doing whatever it is I do for a living.
To rekindle
Whatever
the lost
that do for
flame
a
that
living.
connects our souls with the true harmony of the universe.
Now I am in a quandary. Technology's
What?
the culprit here. Science be blamed.
Because of this, not only did Tasmania have a distinct
How do
sense
you
of
let Dak
humor,
run far
but
off
its
fourth and
writing
four?
was surprisingly ahead of its time, along with other shows like Duckman and Simpsons. Yes, really. based in the land down under where Wacko Warner sings the theme song.
The land down under, so it's Australia. Or is it actually Tasmania, which is
family,
an island
interacting with
south
his talkative friends and partaking in the conversations
Australia.
as little as possible. Much like the other Warner Brothers shows, there's a lot of fourth wall breaking, a lot of slapstick, and like I said, surprisingly a lot of talking. Again, from a show where the main character talks like this.
Does he ever actually
Though not talked about by
speak?
many, Tasmania still had an impressive 4-year run.
4
It had
years?
Good animation, good timing, and actors who had to talk a surprising mouthful for a show about a Tasmanian devil.
Ferociously intense. Not that he's likely to make much progress, given his choice of methodology.
Got a house to show, a career seminar
Okay.
to attend, some charity work to do, and a dinner party to prepare.
Okay,
My
he's
schedule's
playing
pretty
the
much
turtle.
open.
It's so strange this would be both as funny and as wordy as it is. But maybe that's part of the bigger joke in general, that the most dialogue-focused slapstick children's show was around this guy.
Shall we pause to consider this irony?
This is
Maybe
kind of
later.
weird.
Sadly, there's only a
Tasmanian
few
devil of all.
DVD releases of this show. It honestly deserves a lot more. The episodes you can find, though, are a ton of laughs and had a lot more work put into them than they probably deserved. To put it short, Tasmania
I
is
mean,
a
I
heck
guess
of a
Warner
spin.
Brothers want to take care of their IP.
Nothing. I'm watching Tiny Toons
Is
here
this-
on Nickelodeon.
Is this Friends?
Very
Seinfeld?
innocent,
I
wholesome
don't know.
quality.
I hate these
Wheels
shows.
of the bus go round and round.
Like these style shows, just
What was that about?
Tiny Toons is up next.
Tiny Toons?
But what did that have to do with it?
Because that scene always bothered me. It wasn't on Nickelodeon, it was on Fox Kids. And they didn't do stuff like sing the wheels of the bus go round and round. It had good writing, it was a good show! Shame on you, Seinfeld! Shame
Oh,
on
so
you!
it's Seinfeld, okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I never had an outlet to talk about that clip. It always bothered me. It always bothered. They got so many things wrong about that
Yeah.
clip. It was a good, decent show. It just has been building up for a while.
Critic, it's not your fault.
I know.
It's not your fault.
It's not. What is?
I know.
It's
not
your fault.
Is that a Good Will Hunting reference?
do this to me, man.
One of my favorite movies
It's
of all
not your
time.
fault.
Don't do this to me, man. Not you, man.
It's not your fault.
Stop it, not you.
That's Good Will Hunting. Yes, it is. God, I love that movie. I was literally watching the You Like Apples.
Well, having a very
clip,
successful run in
2 days ago.
syndication, Fox Kids bought Tiny Toons and ran it from its 3rd season on. It was one of the few shows based on the younger version of popular characters that branched
Not a
out
moose.
not only to be successful and funny, but also obtain its own identity over time. Characters like Elmira, Montana Max, and Furball were all
I've bought
very
money.
different from their counterparts Elmer, Yosemite Sam, and Sylvester. The nice thing is, while in syndication, there was definitely a lean towards being more kid-friendly, but when it went to Fox, they broke out more of the classic Looney Tunes humor, with celebrity
Bull.
jokes, in-jokes,
In a suit.
satire, a Buster that sounded eerily close to the Crypt Keeper.
Tunes from the crypt.
The Crypt Keeper.
It played well. So well that one of the most popular characters, Plucky Duck, was given his own
Plucky
show that same
Duck.
year.
Yeah, so what was that?
It's complicated.
Hmm.
You see, the first episode of the spin-off was actually hilarious.
$29.95
They're acknowledging he's
for a
getting
shirt?
his own show, but he abandons
fair.
it to try and be Batman in Tim Burton's next movie. It's amazing how funny it is. The violence, the satire, the celebrity in-jokes.
Interesting.
I should be Catwoman, you know it. Look at me. Roar, roar.
I
They had
don't
a
think
ton of
cats go
viewers
raw.
rolling on the floor with laughter. It was so good.
Or
That
wait, what?
sounds great. What happened?
That was the only new episode.
Wait, what?
They weirdly just started showing clips from other Tiny Toons episodes where Plucky Duck was the focus.
Wait, they had one
what was supposed
episode?
to be the Plucky Duck show just became the
Oh, now
best
the-
of Plucky Duck.
Oh, I thought it was
a
a pipe.
clip show. Maybe this was filler for a show they didn't make in time. Maybe they only animated the pilot but pulled the plug like what they did with the Elmira show. Whatever
What?
they did, it faded quickly, resulting in only 13 episodes.
That's not a lot.
Regardless, we still got a pretty funny first episode and a ton of great material from the original Tiny Toons, giving it a memorable and hilarious run. But not every show gets the attention it deserves.
I know what you mean.
Which one? Oh no, what it? Homeboys in Outer Space? Sugar Frosted
masterful
Children
work
of the
will have its
Cornflakes?
day. But I was talking about Eek the Cat.
What? Eek the Cat?
In a world filled with Ren and Stimpy knockoffs, Eek the Cat was arguably one of the first. But just like those other shows, it had a similar style, but still its own hilarious identity.
Is that a
The opening
plane?
sums it up perfectly. He has a dream about helping someone, wakes up to reality, and everything tries to kill him.
Oh, I'm glad I don't have dreams and or nightmares.
That's basically the plot of every episode. The world is trying to punish him for all the good deeds he does.
In his
But
sleep, maybe?
nevertheless, Eek is always kind and optimistic, always helping
Oh, that's
people no
nice.
matter what's thrown at him.
Stolen.
Never hurts to help.
And indeed, a lot of strange things are thrown at him. It's a world where snacks can blow up in your head.
On shelves. What's with the random silence here?
Cuddly bears
I'm
are greeted with
guessing
machine guns.
there's copyright issues. That's what it was. These segments
and
got
Ross
copyrighted.
Perot was commander-in-chief, back when that was the craziest person who could be president.
Yeah.
There was a mean-spirited creativity to it that was held together by just how gentle and helping Eek is.
Hey, no swimming for an hour after you eat. You don't want to get a cramp.
Why is that a thing?
No matter what,
like, is that
he
actually
always wanted to help,
I've never
even if it meant getting
lived by that rule.
Well, at least the beautiful planet of Earth has been spared, and those bad aliens will never do such bad things again, and
Are you sure
someone
about
will
that?
be here to get me soon. I'm just sure of it.
Hell, the biggest curse word he ever used was kumbaya.
Kumbaya, wait!
Granted, as the show went on, they seemed to run out of ideas, so they started putting him in several movie parodies. They were fine, I guess, but it was a little odd,
so they, like,
even for this show.
did move.
To make
Okay.
things even stranger, the time slot was suddenly being shared with another show. Suddenly it was called Extravaganza, and half the running time was dedicated to thunder lizards, a series about dinosaurs who were trying to wipe out a new species called man. At the moment, there's only two of them, and they're constantly screwing up trying to evolve.
What? And I'm guessing it's also had copyright issues. And video
These
I've had
guys
a
are like
bunch
the
of audio
prototype
issues
for
with.
SpongeBob and Squidward, except the sexual tension might be a little greater with them. The show was pretty funny, but not as good as Eek. Nobody minded too much that the shows were cut in half, as we still got our daily dose of
Or, like,
strange, and the
15
show
minutes.
had a good run of 5 seasons. Sadly, again, though, there's no DVD release, hence the watermark.
I wonder
With
why.
the rise of even more surreal humor and internet culture, this really should be more available to the public. It was mean, violent, cruel, relentless, yet funny enough, had a good heart at the center of it. Eek
Aw.
definitely needs to make a comeback, and hopefully somebody out there can make it happen in the future.
Has it happened? I mean, today, like, every movie and stuff is just a remake or shows.
But there's stuff
Like
for
the
dog
Velma
lovers
show.
Too. Jim Henson's Dog City,
Or
for
the
example,
Last of Us
lasted
show,
for
or the
3
Halo
seasons.
show.
Based on Henson's short film from another TV series, the show
Dog
opened in
City?
the puppet world where an animator created a private eye show about a detective named Ace Hart. It then jumps into animation as Ace constantly
Body's
battles
thrown
the
up.
gangster Bugsy Vile with the help of Chief Rosie O'Gravy and Paper
Rosie
Pup named
O'Gravy?
Eddie. As you'd imagine, there's a lot of dog puns in this, which is usually annoying, but after a while, there's so many of them, you're kind of floored so many could exist.
I did some sniffing around trying to get a leg up in the case.
Pavlov brand beef biscuits.
Bernard
Beef
St. Bernard.
biscuits?
Not much bark, but what about our bite?
Station WFIDO.
Some thought he was one table scrap short of a full doggy bag.
Oh, so they're just making a bunch of dog
Unknowingly
puns.
intrigued.
Like many Jim Henson projects, there's a charm in how kid-friendly it wants to
Jim
be.
Henson.
For example, the animator hates violence, so guns are
That's
usually replaced with rolled-up newspapers. And when guns do eventually make their way in, he switches it out for a senseless
Why does the
showdown.
name sound so familiar?
It's
Like, I've
kind
literally
of
just heard about it.
Diving into unknown waters is senseless, but is it as senseless as running with scissors?
I do it all the time.
Not.
The strange thing is, Fox would do another dog detective show called Droopy Master Detective. What was up with this concept? They had the
Dog?
same
Well,
obsession
there was also
Disney
Cat
Afternoon
Dog,
had over ducks.
which I remember
Did
watching
they just
Cat
think this
Dog.
would be the next big thing? Did they even watch this show? Well, Droopy was canned pretty
Tequila, what?
quickly. Dog City had a pretty decent run. So, I guess if you're a dog detective person, I'm a cat detective person myself.
Yeah,
Dog City
fair.
is cute enough to give a viewing.
Did we really get a saxophone? Jim Henson. Oh, Jim Henson did the
Critic, I gotta
Dark
admit,
Crystal.
These shows are fine, but
And I
they're not
reacted
really
to
mind-blowing.
Ottoman's
yeah,
Out
where's
video.
the really cool stuff?
Well, over the
That
next
was the
3
sequel
years,
to
Fox
Dark
Kids would
Crystal.
have their highlights. They would give us the most
Really,
incredible,
yesterday.
awesome, badass shows any kid has ever seen at the time.
Let's give you Batman. We know Nostalgia Critic loves Batman.
Dad, stop butting in!
I'm just trying to help.
You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. Go away!
Aw.
Okay. I love you, son. I didn't quite hear that. I can't hear you.
I love you too.
Oh, Critic loves his dad.
Get out of here, Dad! You ruin everything.
Yeah, that didn't age well.
Stop it! I do not. Shut up! Shut up!
Tell your friends that you love them. I tell my friends I love them all the time. But I do.
I hate you all. I'm never having you back. No!
Somebody got a problem with it. These hands are rated E for everyone. Like, I literally... it's... man. kids. I guess kids would be
Even though
kids.
Fox Kids was growing, it still wasn't the dominant force in Saturday morning or kid shows. But year 3 is when all of that started to change.
What year
Fox
was
Kids
this?
expanded from Saturday morning to weekday afternoons, which was
So
a
after
risky and
school.
expensive move. If they wanted kids to constantly be watching, they needed some kick-ass shows to keep them hooked. Thankfully, they had
1990
little gems like this.
It's when it was founded.
This.
X-Men, Animaniacs,
And this.
Batman. Things I'm not
Now
familiar
I've
with.
talked to death about these shows in the past, so I'll do my best to
Close
talk about something
2002.
different about the impact that they had. First, Batman the Animated Series. After 2 wonderfully dark Batman movies,
Way
an
before my
animated
time.
version of the Dark
I was born in
Knight
97.
not only won both kids and adults
Oh, God.
over, but it served as a game changer for Batman in general. A lot of writers went on to several other Batman canon projects. Several characters and backstories created for
Harley
the show
Quinn.
made their way to the official Batman lore.
Wait,
And even
really?
to this
That's
day,
how
when most
Harley Quinn
people
got
read
added?
Batman comics, the voices that pop in their heads are always Kevin Conroy as Batman and Mark
Rest
Hamill
in
as the
peace.
Joker. It's hard to read them without making that connection.
Wherever you go, I'll be right behind
I think Kevin.
That's all, folks.
Unlike other kid shows at the time, Batman took years to develop, resulting in a unique style not often seen in many animated series. The backgrounds always started off on
Animation's
black paper
really
to
good.
keep the dark environment of the show consistent. The characters and buildings had an Art Deco style as opposed to a pulp comic style like all the other shows. And the atmosphere in general was more adult, allowing for quieter
Harvey Dent.
moments, slower pacing, and more realistic acting. There was no other animated action series that looked like this at the time. And now,
And
every
hopefully it
animated
did
action
well.
series is trying to
Ben
look
10.
like this. It walked the perfect tightrope between too playful and funny and too dark and gritty. It seemed like it incorporated
Batman vs.
everything.
Superman.
It felt true to the comic
Which I did
roots,
that a couple
worked
weeks
in
ago
the
by the
adult
Nostalgia
side
Critic.
of the movies, had a good laugh at the campiness of the situations, and yet somehow also
Oh.
felt like its own unique vision. It's just as good today as it was when it first premiered, and no other Batman show has ever topped it. Think about it. After all these years and all
Wait,
the other
so this is
incarnations
the
that have
best
come
Batman
out,
show?
no other show has done Batman as well.
Who died?
It's just as clear today as it was years ago why this was a huge game changer.
It probably is the reason why a lot of kids love Batman.
But Warner Brothers was breaking new ground with another game changer. What? I was just talking about Animaniacs.
Animaniacs.
Oh, I see. You guys think I talked about it too much, huh?
If Animaniacs was a prostitute, you'd have paid off 5 of her house loans.
Yeah.
Oh.
What, did they save your cat or something?
No. But through the magic of wishful delusions,
Maybe.
now they have.
Ah!
Fine,
Does he
fine,
love
I'll keep it short.
Animaniacs?
Seen as the follow-up to Tiny Toons, Animaniacs was a variety show that stepped up its game. Every episode had a plethora of great songs, memorable characters, hilarious animation, but most important of all, brilliant writing. It was truly the closest we
I'm sorry,
ever
is that
came
the
to
devil?
experience the fresh
Rain ears.
comedy of the original Looney Tunes. They had the great comebacks, the violent slapstick, the imaginative take on the world we all wanted to experience. This must have been similar to when people saw a Bugs Bunny cartoon for the first time on the big screen. There was just an
I haven't
excitement that
seen
you were going
that
to
on
see
the big
something
screen.
clever, funny, and filled with so much energy they felt alive. Along with Batman and Tiny Toons, it was one of the few shows that had an entire orchestra providing the music. And speaking of which,
What?
the brilliant songs are still being used by kids today to pass
For what?
countless school exams. In fact, they
Huh?
even keep updating the songs to coincide with the constantly changing world. In fact, these songs even went on tour with songwriter Randy Rogel and
they
actor
went on
Rob
tour?
Paulson singing their infectious earworms. They're still that popular. It seems the show was so popular that's even being rebooted. In 2020, these characters are coming back to give their take on modern day insanity.
2020.
Imagining the shots they can
2020.
take with the internet,
2020.
trends, politics. It's crazy exciting to see
Crazy
where
that
this can
2020 was
go.
last year.
Will it be as good
Right?
as the original? I guess only time will tell. But one
Our
thing's
channel
for
was
sure,
deleted in 2020.
we'll always have these
Yeah.
timeless, classic, hilarious characters to look back on.
2020 was awful. No, it was also good.
Now on to a show I know I've barely talked about, X-Men.
Oh!
X-Men.
Will you two knock it off?
You knock it off. You've talked about this show so many times, there's nothing left to cover.
Oh yeah?
Really?
I bet I can find something new to talk about.
What?
Prove it.
Fine!
Previously on X-Men, making an animated series.
Apparently it was the passion project of the head of Fox Kids.
Was it really?
Margaret Loesch ironically used to be the head of Marvel Television, producing
Marvel
hit after
Television,
hit
what?
except in one category. Funny enough, the Marvel characters never caught on in TV. Every attempt seemed to bomb, including an
that's
early
actually
version of
interesting.
X-Men where Wolverine was Australian.
Wait, she's not joining the X-Men, is she? She's just a kid.
That's almost too ironic.
She went from
Hugh
studio
Jackman,
to
right?
studio trying to get X-Men made, but
Thank
they
you,
all said
Deadpool.
the same thing. It was too adult and nobody would watch it. Margaret then went on to be the president of Fox Kids.
I
and
can't
cared
unsee
passionately about getting
Wolverine's
X-Men
mask
a
being
TV
two Batmans
series that
kissing.
She put
I
her
can't.
job on the line. They knew if this was going to be good, a lot of money had to be thrown at it, so she took the gamble but picked the right producers, writers, and actors to make it work. The only downside
Did it
is there
work?
was not much time to make it work. In fact, the tone
What
and
was that?
animation were so
Is that a
campy
lightsaber
and
now?
off-key in the first season that they only had 2 episodes for the big October premiere, that being the 2-part pilot. What the hell do you do when you need months and months to rework your show? You present the first 2 episodes as a preview. Yeah, it pissed off the advertisers and cost a fortune, but Margaret and showrunner Eric Lewald
But did it
knew
pay
they
off?
had to get this right if they were going to have a hit. The preview thankfully went over incredibly well and left people wanting more. So, after a redo of the show with better
Which
animation and
allowed
more
them to
adult
build hype.
atmosphere, it finally premiered with no other new shows being put on.
That-
That's right,
what,
because
cable?
they waited until spring, it got more attention because
Those
everything
eyebrows,
else was
though.
reruns. As you'd imagine, the numbers were through the roof. X-Men was suddenly Fox's biggest hit. It represented more than cool heroes with powers. It grasped the prejudice and torture character arcs, as well as the all-around
And this
badass
was
nature
way
people
before
love from the comics.
Marvel was bought by
After
Disney,
being
right?
told no over and
Way
over from
before,
several
pretty
studios
sure.
and even ignoring advice from Stan Lee to make it more kid-friendly, the creators stuck to their guns and turned in a huge payday. Much like the X-Men who had to fight for human dignity, so did the creators who wanted to see their timeless characters done right. X-Men would go on for 5
So this is
seasons, one of Marvel's
this is
longest-running series.
a huge gamble
Launched them
paying
into
off.
the mainstream
This is why you
more
take that
than
risk.
before, leading to
'Cause
several
what could
reboot
happen if it
series,
goes right?
comic
Better than you
spin-offs,
can
and
imagine.
of course a beautifully inconsistent movie franchise.
Never seen any of them.
This was a gamble that paid off all the way to the X-Bank.
To the X-Bank.
So, with those 3 gigantic hits, Fox Kids was moving on to their next big...
It's gonna be bad,
Aren't
isn't
you
it?
forgetting another hit show?
Which one?
Don't think so.
Yeah, one that still makes like a butt ton of money even today.
What?
No, there's no other hit shows at that time.
Power Rangers?
Fine, there might have been another teeny
Never-
incy-wincy hit of a
Never
show
seen Power
called
Rangers.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
One of my close friends is notifications for his phone. He actually has
It's no
it's
secret
the,
I never got into this show.
the Power
even
Ranger
as a
sound effect.
kid.
And everybody
It
thinks
was
it's like
just
Kim Possible or something.
so dumb. The same time Batman and X-Men were on, we had
About that double date we talked about? Yeah.
so dumb. But okay, let's talk about it a bit. Because on the one hand, it is a brilliant marketing strategy.
So-
5 teenagers
With attitude.
are summoned by
aren't
Jabba
the
the
one-
Fuzzy Mouth to stop a space
So is
witch
this a
named Rita
like
for her
one that's
crimes
made
of
in
bad
America?
lip-syncing.
Because
They
then the
first do
other
a
ones
martial
it's
arts
like
fight against a monster of the week, and then
they have
they
the mask
grow in
on, and
size
they're, like,
use
dubbed in
giant
Japanese.
robots in a fight against Los Angeles Japanese mountains. So yeah, the setup was pretty obvious. Shoot American actors for dirt cheap, and then cut to Japanese stock footage from another hit show in Japan. Power
So that's what
Rangers,
they
of
did.
course,
Got it.
Turned into a huge hit, which meant as long as they were still making shows in Japan, oh god,
Power
they'll never
Rangers could
stop.
exist.
They could keep making shows.
I
here.
heard the recent Power
was not only
Rangers
the longest
show or
running
movie is
series
actually
on Fox
kinda good,
Kids,
right?
but it surpassed it. Even after Fox Kids shut down, the show still continues to have an
God.
impressively long-lasting life. It had many spin-offs, storylines, reunions, callbacks, and tons of B-movie monsters to fight. On the one hand, I really wanted to like this show
Wow,
because,
this is
hey, martial arts, giant robots, killer monsters, that can be some
and
fun
colors,
shit. But
candles.
Guess you finally
Could just
flipped
stepped over
over me.
so
step over it.
dumb. It was clearly past my time and not for me, but that doesn't mean they didn't tap into something that excited a shit ton of kids. And some very disturbed adults years later.
Apparently.
Power Rangers, whether you like it or not, was and still is an impressive spectacle.
Yeah. I think there was a death battle
Wouldn't
about
be the
Power
90s
Rangers.
unless we forcibly had to teach you shit.
Where on earth is Carmen Sandiego?
Thankfully, some shows were better at it than others. Like Where on Earth is...
So, I hate pausing videos. So I thought Carmen Sandiego was like a porn star or something. Well, that does show you my age when I first heard of Carmen Sandiego. Yeah. That's what I thought because that sounds like a porn star name. It honestly does. Okay, let's not make it a long video even longer.
Carmen Sandiego.
Rockapella.
Nope.
Do what you want in the comment
This was a
section with
different
that
kind of
information.
Carmen Sandiego, one that was on a kid's
It shows I was
computer game that
old
tried to
when I
educate
heard about Carmen
That's
Sandiego.
exactly what Carmen Sandiego is.
Okay, maybe not that different. The off-screen player always had to pick 2 characters to go after Carmen, and he always picked the sister and brother duo, Ivy and Zach.
Oh, God, tell me he didn't ship them?
It's a kid who's always at his computer.
I think brother-sister.
Probably.
Hello, player. Thanks for picking me.
Yeah, that sounds weird.
Yeah, it
There's
does.
a freaky-ass chief who seemed to be a mix between Max Headroom and the genie.
Ivy, you simply must learn to accessorize.
Regrettably so.
Don't
and the
like the
duo had to
voice.
chase Carmen around the world to get back the famous monuments that they'll inevitably homeschool us about.
So Carmen Sandiego
Listen up, gumshoes. You'll be heading to Holland. It's
Carmen
the
Sandiego
home
bad?
of wooden shoes, tulips, and the world-famous windmills.
On the one hand,
How you
it
still a
doesn't
windmill,
work
bro?
as well as the game show because
Louisville.
the investment came from
Louisville.
having to know the information to get further. Here, the show just kind of comes to a halt to teach you something.
He used bold colors and
Gogh.
violent brushstrokes, often slashing at the canvas as he painted.
On the other hand, though, it did have a story
Photo
to
and
each
Shuttle
one,
Driving.
and Carmen herself was just as stylish and cool a villain as you would want.
Wait, Carmen Sandiego's a
In fact,
villain?
a lot of the time, she would leave the clues on purpose because she loved the thrill of the chase. At first, I thought this was kind of
crazy.
lame, but then the more I thought about it, how clumsy is Carmen in the other versions to always leave something behind? Here,
Does on
she's at least
purpose, I
owning up to
guess.
her stupidity. The show lasted a good while with 4 seasons, and even though the education stuff did feel a little forced, it was still cool seeing the Queen of Thieves do what she does,
The
and
Queen
I
of
guess help
Thieves?
us get a little smarter watching it too. It was decent enough for what it was.
Okay, bye. Oh, yeah, you can fly. That's cool. Are you still in the Statue of Liberty?
Hey kids, what's more awkward than movie Spider-Man?
Other movie Spider-Man?
And?
Cartoon Spider-Man?
And?
I can't wait for the Spider-Verse movie to come out. The new one. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to go see with my ex
Tales of
because we
X-Men.
saw the
Heck,
first
even
one
doing
together.
a crossover with them later. Spider-Man tried capturing the same complex characters and ideas their other hit Marvel show had.
Did they?
Did
it's
it?
complicated. No.
Oh, okay.
Spider-Man was great if you wanted the experience of the comic, but it didn't really segue into an emotional TV series.
That's Venom.
It might have been surprisingly overambitious.
I've only ever
as
seen
every
Tobey
second
Maguire
it's either
Spider-Man
explaining
movies.
what's going on, explaining the emotions, explaining the inner monologue. It could never take a break.
Then we have to assemble those of us who are left and go protect the site of the Doomsday Complex.
Is that like
I feel
yelling?
I'm witnessing a part of this country's history. After seeing the beacon, we always assembled here.
I had to crack open a map to remember where this building was.
How have you been, Madeline?
Oh my god,
Who?
breathe!
Who
You
was
guys
that?
are going faster than the dialogue in The Social Network. The CG City wasn't a
Social
bad
Network.
idea
I've seen
at the
that movie.
time, but now it just sticks out like a sore thumb. In other instances, the CG background matches the look of the painted background. This just looks like he's
Oh.
swinging into a screensaver. But those are just little details. Maybe it could still work if the writing was sharp.
Anyway, this lizard thing is probably just an urban myth. Wait a minute. Looks like I was myth-taken.
Oh.
But again, to its credit, it did take a lot from the comics, trying to cram in as much as you can in a kid's show. I just think it did
Dude,
it
that
too
guy
damn
is
much.
large.
It wasn't Power Rangers silly, but it wasn't X-Men serious either. It was something in between. But it seemed to be
It
enough
did
as
do
this Marvel show
good at
lasted
either,
5
maybe?
seasons, so I guess it must have made a big connection with a lot of fans. And granted, there were some really cool things to see, like Tony Jay as the Kingpin, Mark Hamill as the Hobgoblin, not Topher Grace as Venom. And to
Who?
think we thought this would be the greatest
you cut
Marvel
out
team-up
literally
we
as
would
his
ever
name.
see on any screen.
Power of lightning, strike again!
Power of web shooters.
Power web shooters. So did he have a web shooter to come out of his skin?
corny.
Looking back, it's not as bad as I remember, but his pacing is still way too fast for us to absorb every adventure.
And especially for
It's got
kids,
its fans,
probably.
though, and I can see why. It was a huge hit, and anything that makes this a little less awkward must be
Spider-Man
doing
3.
something right.
That was the Tobey Maguire one, right? Yeah,
But for
2007.
my money, the best superheroes always shouted,
Oh, can I say it? I've always wanted to say it.
What?
Go ahead.
Fork!
It was one word. It was one goddamn word with
Fork.
5 letters. You couldn't even say 5 letters!
This is nice.
Wait, what is it? The Tick?
While
Huh?
there were comedic takes on superheroes in the past, none were quite as funny or odd as The Tick. Again, leaning its writing towards the adults rather than kids, The Tick told the story
Huh?
of a nigh invulnerable, absent-minded superhero and his voice of reason sidekick, Arthur.
You can't fight evil with a macaroni
Are you
duck!
a moth?
I'll be the
Are you sure about that?
While the idea
Walks
based on
through the
cult
door
comic
frame.
went through several different
The Tick.
incarnations in the future, most people agree this is the one that was the most faithful to the source. It did what many superhero parodies do, adding a big slice of reality to our comic book fantasy. But the biggest punch it lampooned is just how many damn superheroes there are.
Chair.
Particularly now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Tick addressed what would happen if so many of these side characters and spin-offs really did exist in the same universe.
This is all the heroes you could find?
Well, it's such short notice. These people have lives too, you know.
Though sometimes the animation could be a little choppy and the timing a hint off, the Tick still had original writing with very enthusiastic characters.
Was that Plank and then Nettie?
Really pursued us? Where were we really trapped? Come on, Arthur. Get meta with me!
This is a weird All Might, dude.
Infectiously positive. He just loves being the hero, but he never came across as egotistical. He really believes his corny speeches and one-liners, thinking they inspire people just as much as they inspire him.
And they probably don't.
Pursued us. We're
what is your powers?
Obsessions. I'm good. You're evil. I'm a woman. You're a man. What does it all mean? Nothing.
He never felt cynical or mean-spirited. He doesn't think much about what he's saying, but rather the way he's saying it. To a point where even silverware can serve as a battle cry.
What? Spoon, fork. Oh, that's because he said fork instead of spoon.
And continued to run in syndication, only increasing its cult following. Though there be many variations on this crazy idea, by far the one who came the closest in strangeness and comedy was the one on Fox Kids.
Interesting. Ticks are gross, dude.
That's cool, but can I have a show based on a book series where the scariest part was the cover?
No.
Oh.
Wait, what?
But you can have a show that's less scary than Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? What? Goosebumps. I remember the books when I was in elementary school. Never read any of them, I don't think. But I remember the covers being
hugely successful book series by R.L. Stein. It was wild, imaginative, and not the least bit scary.
Hey!
You know I'm right. You all know I'm right! When I was younger, I was always pissed off that all the scary shows I watched were never scary. Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, even Tales from the Crypt I never found frightening. But as I got older, I realized that's not really what they were about.
They're not trying to be like that?
The intent wasn't to scare you, the intent was to have fun in a classically spooky setup. One of these episodes is about a killer sponge, for God's sake.
Wait.
The hokey acting and over-the-top writing only add to the B-movie quality that honestly kinda gets better every time I see it. That doesn't mean they weren't trying, it just means it should be enjoyed on a different level than you might expect. It's like getting angry if a Scooby-Doo episode isn't scary. It's just not what you're supposed to be looking for. Every show had a new monster or a new scenario that would tie into the character's persona or fears, similar to The Twilight Zone. Except, you know, laughably stupid. It took me a while to warm up to this series, but now watching it with the intent of having a good time, that's exactly what I get out of it. A good time. It's one of those kooky kid shows I weirdly enough like even more as an adult than I do as a kid. Just for entirely different reasons.
Oh god, it's alive. They love the floating head stuff, don't they? I just remember them having the sickest covers.
Sadly though,
like,
this is when Fox Kids began their downward spiral.
Oh, geesh. How long did they last after that?
Just a mere 6 years.
That's stupid long.
I know, but here's the thing.
But it's still making
Warner
money,
Brothers
though.
was starting their own network with their own kids programming called Kids WB. And when they started up, guess what they took with them? Animaniacs, Looney Tunes, and Batman.
Oh.
They even did spin-off shows like Superman, Pinky and the Brain, and their own little Japanese import that was dirt cheap to make and would run for years and years. In fact, even the first Animaniacs episode on Kids WB was a parody of Fox's biggest show, Power Rangers.
Wow.
What's wrong with your mouth?
It's all fun.
What went on behind the scenes
but this
there?
was a big bite for them. And many of the upcoming shows did well, but not nearly as well as before.
Casper.
Another Spielberg show called Toonsylvania tried capturing a darker tone on the Animaniacs formula, but sadly the writing wasn't on point and it didn't last very long. I talked in great detail about Sam and Max in another episode. It was creative, but a little too unfocused, earning only one season. And then of course there's
Ninja Turtles, The Next Mission.
That's like summing up the Titanic in one sentence. I need a full episode to go into what's wrong with that.
Yeah.
Good call.
After that, Fox Kids went the same route Kids WB went,
What is that?
importing more and more Japanese shows after seeing not only how easier
Digimon.
they are to put out, but also how cheap they are to do. And sadly, I stopped watching after that. If we were going to go into this in more detail, we would need people that actually grew up
And now they're
watching.
calling the other two. Oh no.
Okay, go ahead.
Bring them in. Okay, now we're doing that.
Hey kids, remember this incredible writing?
That's a lot of fish.
They made a show out of it.
A lot of fish. The only Godzilla movie I've ever seen. Which, even though it's not technically a Godzilla movie, also the Cowboys are 6-9. Nice. And it's 6-9.
Godzilla the series was a direct continuation of the 1998 Godzilla movie. It featured some actors from the film lending their voices to reprise their roles.
That's actually pretty cool.
Including Bart
that.
Simpson.
Thankfully, Matthew Broderick wasn't one of them, but his character... Oh, what? Nick
Tatopoulos.
Tatopoulos.
See, it's Greek, haha.
Did return. The only surviving offspring of the Godzilla that attacked New York in the movie imprinted onto Nick as its parent, and thus they used him as a government-sponsored Pokemon to fight other giant monsters.
Pokemon.
That's so stupid. I'm surprised it wasn't in the '98 film.
So am I.
Yeah.
This series was received pretty well by fans of Godzilla, but honestly, following the '98 film, there was nowhere to go but up. We did get some great kaiju fights in the show, though, so I guess I can look past
Pacific
Godzilla's
Rim movie?
Dick Tracy chin.
I guess it's better than any of the Power Rangers.
And then there's Power Rangers in Space and Lost Galaxy.
Oh, more Power Rangers in space.
Power Rangers in Space wrapped up the show's initial run and was supposed to be the series finale. As
And
we know
that didn't happen. Nah.
Much to our regret.
He really doesn't like Power Rangers.
I don't like it back here.
Yeah, just getting abused.
What on the surface seemed like Star Trek Light actually became one of the most popular and well-received seasons in the show's history.
Wait, it was one
they went
season?
much further with character
Like,
development
one
than they did
season's a
in most
name?
of the previous seasons. There were decently deep arcs for a kid's show that featured the Red Ranger's long-lost sister being brainwashed as the Power Rangers' main enemy, and even more multi-dimensional villains. There's plenty more to talk about with this season, which finished the Zordon era and ended up saving the franchise. But some of you may just know it for their crossover with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cowabunga, I guess.
Hey, we have a deal. No next mutation unless he's fully being tortured.
It's okay. Just the mention of the idea hurts me.
The next season, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy kept the outer space theme, but began a new phase in the PR legacy. Starting here, every season introduced a new cast with new powers, Zords, etc., and that became the status quo for the series moving forward. Saban's big plan
So there was no continuity between seasons?
Sword in the Stone in space.
Huh.
Woo? Actually, this season was pretty good. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
But I know what you're thinking. Those shows needed a lot more Ryan Gosling as young Hercules.
It's actually
Ryan
amazing how
Gosling's
much
in it?
we weren't thinking that.
Well, Fox Kids was.
Oh.
I was thinking that.
Good job, Ryan. That is Ryan Gosling. Young Hercules.
There was a
Why is
spin-off
that
of the
his
Kevin
name?
Sorbo show starring a young Ryan Gosling. I always speculated this was just another Goosebumps episode he was in.
It is scary enough.
What else
Oh,
do you
it
need
is
to know
Ryan
about
Gosling.
this show? Well, I think this clip says it all.
What is a performance that you've given? Something that you're insanely proud of?
My work on young Hercules.
Really?
I had a fake tan, leather pants, was fighting imaginary monsters. They weren't really there, but I was acting like they were there.
My God, I think we're all in a Goosebumps episode.
We also can't forget about Beast Wars. This is one of my
Beast
favorite
Wars.
childhood shows. It traded in cool
Oh,
cars,
that looks
trucks, and
awful.
jets for animals like rats and ants.
That looks awful.
Believe me, it's way cooler than it sounds.
No, it's not.
This was my generation's Transformers show, and I absolutely
Oh, why does that have
loved
lips?
it. Beast Wars, along with Reboot, was among the first all-CG animated series. The early
I wish it
computerized
wasn't.
look doesn't hold up all that well, but for the time, it was revolutionary and set the show apart from most other things on TV. The stories were great, the characters were great, it was just a really solid animated series. That
it
being
was
said,
bad-
stay away from this, Michael Bay!
It was
You
badly
hear me?
animated.
Don't you dare defile Rat Trap, Tigertron, or Optimus Primal! For more on this series, you can check out my top 5 best episodes, right here on the channel.
Really?
If my face isn't on it, I don't watch it.
I haven't heard that before. Beast Machines Transformers was the less popular sequel series to Beast Wars. It took place almost immediately after.
This is much
it was
better.
dark, sobering, and kind of depressing at times. You know, for the kids.
Ugh.
The change in tone and design
It's
wasn't
better.
something anyone was asking for, but it did end all the stories that started in Beast Wars
Still
and
creepy.
has gained a small, dedicated following over the years.
Blah, blah, blah. Get to the more
Look,
hardcore
BattleBots is
stuff.
still a thing.
Oh, you mean like Frank Miller?
Yeah! Wait, what?
Like what?
Yeah, there was a show based on a Frank Miller comic.
Frank Miller. Big guy
Big Guy
and
and
Rusty?
the Boy
Why is the
Robot
kid
was
so
a show
big?
based on a short comic written by Frank Miller.
I don't
There
know who
really
Frank
isn't
Miller
too
is.
much
I know
crossover
Frank
between
Miller.
the show and the comic, with the show actually being more fleshed out than the comic.
Is Samuel L. Jackson in a Nazi uniform?
No.
It's a good start.
Rusty is the most advanced robot ever made, with a complicated AI and ability to feel
So is this supposed to be
He was meant to
Mega
be the
Man?
successor to Big Guy, an advanced robot that protects Earth. However, Rusty's emotional circuits and AI are young, and he therefore acts like a child.
That would
Rusty
make
needs
sense.
to learn how to be the protector of
Ugh.
Earth. Big Guy is recommissioned so he can teach Rusty. Big Guy and Rusty was one of the more complex and mature shows in the Year 10 lineup. It was pretty interesting and
10.
unique. Although it was never my favorite show, I do remember being engaged by it and wanting to see what happened next.
Why are his eyes so small? Why is the space between his eyes and his eyebrow so
Good to
big?
know not everything was a Japanese import.
And then there was Digimon.
Yeah, okay.
Which I knew nothing about until I think the death
When
battle,
Pokemon
and then
became a
Jade
smash
Animation
hit,
did a video
Fox
about
Kids
it.
try to capitalize on that
Video
marketing
did
trend
really
by
well.
introducing the world of Digimon. 7 kids
I've
at a
gotten-
summer camp are transported to a digital world.
I know I'm gonna
creatively
get a
called
certain
the
Discord
Digiworld.
DM from a certain
There
somebody
they discover
if they
they are
watch this video
Digidestined,
about
who must help
Digimon.
save the digital and real world with the help of their partner digital monsters, or Digimon. They are also given digi-devices which transport them between
See,
the
I
real
always thought
and
Digimon
digital
was, like,
worlds
knock
and to
off
help their
Pokemon.
Digimon
It's not true.
digivolve into other forms.
Say Digi again! I dare you! I double dare you!
Okay, Alec Baldwin, chill.
Well, now I'm mad!
That was no.
The show was actually a lot of
strict gun
fun.
laws.
Although it never reached the fever pitch of Pokemon, it was received well by audiences. Although there was
Yeah,
fan demand that the anime be
people that like
shown in
Digimon
its entirety,
do enjoy
as
it.
the Fox Kids version was
The games,
edited
however-
and changed to fit a more humorous tone than the original Japanese show. And who could ever forget that theme song?
You know, I just got that damn song out of my
And now it's
head,
back.
and you put it right back in there!
Oh, I thought you were still humming DuckTales. Woo!
Oh.
Because of Digimon's
Whack.
success, we also got Monster Rancher,
Monster
another monster
Rancher.
show that was meant to compete with the success of Pokemon. Monster Rancher was
It
first
didn't.
a video game before being made into an anime that
It
Fox
really?
Kids picked up. In the game, you use discs to unlock monsters that the player trains to compete in tournaments.
That sounds like
In the show,
Bakugan.
a boy named Genki receives a disc
I
to
still have my
use while
Bakugan.
playing. The disc ends up transporting him to a different world where the monsters are real and
Has
created
Nostalgia
by
Critic done
standing
anything
stone
about
discs in
Yu-Gi-Oh?
temples. Like Digimon, Monster Rancher was edited to make it more suitable for audiences, removing more dramatic elements from the series.
That's a giant
I
eye.
remember loving the show as a kid, but honestly, it was a bit bland and basically an overglorified commercial.
So, an anime.
Oh.
Oh, Christ, I hit a nerve.
Yes. This.
Fox did give Spider-Man another go with Spider-Man Unlimited, a loose sequel to the '94 series
opposed
while
to
having
Limited.
a strange and somewhat confusing plot that sent Spider-Man to a duplicate world on the far side of the sun called Counter-Earth. Normally, this would be
What-
like
is
a
this
parallel
like-
dimension or something,
is
but
this like the
apparently
Spider-Verse
that's not
almost?
exactly what
The
Unlimited
idea?
was going for. Instead, we got a really weird futuristic planet for Spider-Man to fight Venom and Carnage on while freeing humans from oppression.
Wow, this is making his deal with the devil almost sound credible.
Due to legal
Sure.
issues, this series couldn't draw from any of the decades of source material that came
Why
before
not?
it, or even use the standard Spider-Man
Toon
suit for
Disney.
most of its run. There have been some awesome designs for alternate spider suits made over the years, but a web cape? Unique, to say the least. The opening theme sounds like it's trying to be Batman Beyond, but comes off like its goofy clubbing cousin.
Like clubbing a seal, I think you mean.
Oh.
I get that Spider-Man the Animated Series
Right in
is
the
an
eye.
insanely tough act to follow, but
That thing
Spider-Man
looks like
Unlimited
out of
was a
Half-Life.
mess from the beginning, both behind and on the screen, that is best skipped over by fans of the webhead.
And then there's Angela Anaconda.
What is? Oh, what is that?
Welcome to my marriage
No.
show. I'll introduce
Whoa!
Did any of us actually watch this show?
No!
I can see why.
Are we gonna
By
gloss
year
over
12,
that?
Fox Kids was losing momentum and pulled back weekday scheduling to only Saturday mornings.
As the audio
By then, the
screws up.
writing must have been on the wall because the following year, Fox Kids stopped airing programs and never returned. Though many of these shows would exist in reruns, and there's more than enough kid shows everywhere now, that
True.
magic collection of the right talent for the right age group at the right time never
There's some
seemed
hits
as
and some
prominent.
misses.
Every Saturday morning built an anticipation like no other. Every visit
This
home
was like
from
before the
school
internet
revved up
and everything,
excitement
so you didn't
every
have
kid
access
could
to
feel.
everything all the
For a pretty
time.
awesome time in our childhood,
Couldn't they
we
just
had
shoot
a
everything
cool
all the time?
clubhouse that lived in our TV. And they told us great jokes, classic stories, the latest comics, and even taught us a thing or two. It was everything you thought of when you heard the word Saturday morning. It was a perfect experience so much of us were so happy to have. And we couldn't be more thankful to the awesome people who gave us some absolutely wonderful Saturday mornings on Fox Kids.
I suppose.
Speaking of which, we should probably start getting ready for bed.
What?
Is it already that?
Oh, yeah, I guess we
wow.
have been
They watch
watching a little
cartoons
over
all
12
day.
hours of shows. So what do we do now? Well, protocol says we should be playing video games past our bedtime.
Yep.
Laugh and scream at basically nothing.
Yep.
And have deep philosophical talks while trying to go to sleep.
Sounds good.
What are the talks going to be about?
God, duck season is the best.
Shoot the dog! Shoot the dog!
I won't shoot the dog.
Will Smith!
What? Oh, what? Okay.
Malcolm,
Guys, I wonder why we're here.
do you believe in God?
Believe or see?
You see God?
Well, yeah. I was thinking about that, and it had me thinking, what if Bowser's the good guy?
Wow.
Oh my god.
You know?
And
They're not
Mario's
high.
really the bad guy?
Okay,
Mario's really the
okay,
bad guy?
But
Aw.
is Satan
The Cowboys got a field goal.
No,
It's not
that's
nine.
just not true. That's a
With
dirty
9
lie.
minutes left in the third.
If Mario's the bad guy, then Luigi is Satan.
Oh.
I'm
Wait.
totally lost. How do we go from God to Bowser?
I don't know.
Video games are...
God.
Video games are God. That's
Okay.
a
My religion, actually. Thanks.
Yeah.
So like
Oh.
video games equal God?
There's all different, denominations.
Yeah,
Right,
different
right.
sects.
Like, Tamara believes in the denomination
Rocked.
of PlayStation, but like Walter and
McLeod?
I are Nintendoites, so
Ray
like,
McLeod?
it can be awkward sometimes. I have a PlayStation. Like, don't
I don't have a
tell
PlayStation.
Nintendo, but like I have a PlayStation.
Don't
because,
tell
like, sometimes you
Nintendo.
You gotta explore things.
You can
man.
follow me on
Yeah, you
Instagram.
gotta do stuff. Well,
You know?
while you're young, you know what I mean?
There's
I
a
think
charity
everything
shout
is
out.
'cause
Whatever
I-
his video makes the
Yes.
first day.
Oh.
I'll donate
You
it
know
to that
what?
charity.
Sorry.
As long as it
I agree with
exists.
Dreamcast, man.
Still.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be okay.
I don't know, man. I don't think my mom's gonna let me sleep over here anymore.
Yeah. Smart.
Hi, Doug Walker here doing the charity shout out, and this week we are doing Build Chicago.
Build
Build grows
Chicago.
hope and engagement with a wide array of
Well, if
school
it still
and
exists, whatever this
community-based
video makes in the
programs
first
that
day,
build the habits
I
of
will
success,
donate it to
spark
Build
interest,
Chicago.
uncover talents, give
Why not?
kids a sense of accomplishment, and
Then I have
empower
patrons
them
that
with
couldn't
the
do stuff
tools
like
to
this.
resist risky behavior and make positive choices. Their mission is to engage at-risk youth in schools and on the streets so they can realize their educational and career potential and contribute to the stability, safety, and well-being of our communities. Founded in 1969 as a pioneering
1969.
gang intervention
Nice.
program, BUILD is nationally recognized as a gang intervention, violence prevention, and youth development, impacting over 3,000 youth and families in 5 Chicago's most challenged communities. BUILD's holistic model
kind of been to
integrates an
Chicago.
array of services to meet individual
I flew into a
and
hair,
community
missed my
needs, including
connecting
gang
flight by
intervention, violence prevention,
7
college and
minutes,
career
and then delayed it
readiness,
10
youth
minutes after they
leadership
shut the
development
doors.
and civic
And
engagement,
then I spent 8 hours stranded in
entrepreneurship,
O'Hara.
the arts, and clinical services.
And then I got on a subway and
Their
left.
objective is to
Catch the
ensure
train,
that
but the
every
train sold
child
out.
has a bright
So then went
future,
back.
regardless of individual challenges or neighborhood barriers. If you look at their site and their YouTube page, you can see all the creative ways
Which,
they help
Chicago's
kids
in
find
Illinois.
a future where they
Nostalgia
can
Creek's
thrive
in
and
Illinois.
succeed. They have tons of events you can visit, donate to, or volunteer at on their site. And like I said, they got that great
Okay,
Peace Parade
move.
and Carnival coming up in August, so you should definitely show up there.
I don't think I
Click
can
on
do
the
that. I
link and
do
see how
want
you can
to
play a
meet
big part
Nostalgia
keeping
Critic
the
first.
future
That would be
full
amazing.
and strong.
Build futures, build lives. Seems pretty good. Hopefully it's like a legitimate charity. If y'all know if it's a legitimate charity or not, or if it's not, please let me know. Well, I mean, if it's bad, let me know. If it's not, if it's good, then you don't have to worry about telling me anything. I just don't want to, like, do, like, support, like, a bad charity or whatnot. But this has been a very, very long recording. Like I said, I had to record this on an entirely separate day because you've been asking for this for so long. But we finally did it. I should be live streaming today at 5 p.m., which is not too far from when this video goes live to when this video is ending. If you sat through this entire thing, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully I was able to make it a tiny little bit better. If you enjoyed the video, like the video, because long videos typically don't do well in the YouTube algorithm. I do read all your comments, leave them down below. Let me know what the next Nostalgia Critic video should be. After an hour of this video and 40 minutes of a Badger video, I've spent the last 100 minutes pretty much reacting to a Fallout New Vegas by Badger and Fox Kids. Two things I know literally almost nothing about. But this is a great video. No need to make it any longer. It needs to be. I hope you have a wonderful rest day. I hope you're subscribed. Trying to hit 100,000 for the end of the year. But until the next video, take care and keep the music.